Hello everyone and welcome to Pro Tour Honolulu 2012. Rich Hagon, Brian David-Marshall with you. BDM, we've got a fantastic 3 days and it really is 3 days of wall-to-wall action. What's the schedule look like?
It looks like we start talking about Magic in round one.
Yep.
And we stop talking about Magic around the trophy ceremony on Sunday.
Okay. And then we put together a Friday night countdown show on Monday too, just in case that's not enough for everyone.
It might be too much for us. I mean, we're going to be like this. Yeah. We are just going to be bringing you
19 rounds,
live coverage, player interviews. We're going to bring you behind the scenes with R&D to talk about the making of Dark Ascension. It's Pro Tour Dark Ascension, so we're going to be really looking at this new set, seeing it in action, and
in terms of format, standard and Dark Ascension Innistrad draft. So in this show, what we're going to do is get Brian to take you through a whole bunch of cards from Dark Ascension that we might be seeing play key roles over the weekend. Where do you want to start? I guess standard is where we begin.
Yeah, let's talk about some Dark Ascension cards that we think we're going to see in standard decks. We're going to start doing coverage with round one of the event, and a card we might see people playing is Faithless Looting.
Now this seems on the face of it a very complicated card in that it doesn't have power and toughness, it's not a removal spell, it seems symmetrical, draw 2, discard 2.
Right, and in fact it's really kind of card disadvantage.
Sure, because the Faithless Looting goes, and so explain why this is good and powerful.
Well, if you've ever played Blue-Green Madness and played with Careful Study, which is sort of the blue version of the front side of this card, then you know how powerful it can be, you know, when you're putting cards into your graveyard, if you played Threshold, if you've ever played with Dredge, you know, cards that really care about cards being in your graveyard, you know, for things like Flashback. So, you know, if you want to get, you know, you get to filter through your deck, put your Think Twices in your graveyard, maybe put, you know, like a Gravecrawler in your graveyard, and then you also get to flash this back. This is a card that's going to fuel, if there's a Burning Vengeance deck out there, if there's a Spider Spawning deck out there, you know, it's you know, if you're playing a control deck, and you know the same role that Desperate Ravings fills, where it lets you filter your draws. This is gives you even more precision control over the cards in your hand and getting rid of cards. And there's a lot of cards that want to be in your graveyard. This is a card that wants to be in your graveyard. You might discard another Faithless Looting.
Let's find something more straightforward, something with power and toughness. How about Strangleroot Geist? Now this is a card that on the face of it goes in one deck, and the deck is a deck we've not seen for a while. Mono green aggro, smashy, smashy, smashy. Does it go anywhere else? Well,
it certainly goes in mono green, and we've already seen it, I believe, show up last week in some mono green decks. But I expect that we'll see this deck in ramp decks that have access to Green Sun Zenith. You might see 1 or 2 copies of this in a deck where you can just...
Why would it go in there?
Because against a control deck, it's a haste creature. It's got Undying, so you know a deck that's looking to just like Doomblade, a pesky creature, or Wrath the board. Well, you're just going to make this angry, in the words of Patrick Chapin, right? You're just going to, you know, this 2/1's going to come back as a 3/2 if you kill it. It's going to force you to deal with it multiple times. It just puts the pressure on your opponent.
So kind of a kitchen finks kind of card, in a sense.
And it also is a card that you're going to see in Birthing Pod decks. So I mean, think about this. If you had a 3 that you absolutely wanted to get, well, you could go get it twice. Because you sacrifice this to your Birthing Pod, and then it comes back.
Yep.
So,
neat.
Yeah.
Very neat. Now, a card that is going to see, well, we don't know how much play, but if it sees play in numbers, it's going to do some crazy, crazy stuff. And this, over here, is Havengul Lich.
Yeah, this is a card a lot of players are like, I hope nobody broke it.
Yeah.
Ali Antrazi, reigning U.S. national champion, went to the Star City Open last weekend, played a Havengul Lich deck with Heartless Summoning that was really kind of like a control combo deck. He was putting giant guys.
Yeah, it was like Sphinx of Athun and Runescarred Demon was in that deck. But there's also some neat little sort of combo elements specifically to the deck,
Sure.
isn't there?
Well, so one of the things you can do, so the ability of the Havengul Lich is, 1, you may cast target creature card from a graveyard this turn. And so when you have a Heartless Summoning in play, which reduces the casting cost of those creatures by 2, if, for example, one of the creatures you played from your graveyard is a Priest of Urabrask, and you have a Heartless Summoning, well, that it's going to die immediately. It's going to cost you 1 mana. You're going to get 3 red mana when it comes into play. It's like Priest of Gix, if you haven't seen this card. And then use one of those mana, you return it, you get 3 mana, you return it, you get 3 mana, you return it, you get 3 mana, rinse, repeat. You end up with infinite mana, and then you take a lowly Perilous Mirror. The lowly Perilous Mirror, you put it into play for free, its casting cost is reduced by 2, it dies, you do 2 to your opponent, and then you pay 1 of your infinite manas, and you return Perilous Mirror, and you use as many of your infinite manas as you'd like, and do some sub-infinite amount of damages.
That is sufficient.
Sufficient.
That's the important thing.
Yeah.
So, like we say, if you see it, it's going to be crazy.
People are definitely scared of this card. I don't know that a lot of people are playing it, but if someone figured it out, the optimal list, and it could be Ali Antrazi, right? Like, he played it last week, then it could be scary.
Okay, now a card that keeps coming back. Value, very straightforwardly. Here it comes. It's a white card, Lingering Souls. So for 2 and a white, you get 2/1/1 white flying spirit tokens. Flashback 1 and a black, so the opposing color, white 1 and a black, gives you 2 more. So you've got 4 1/1 flyers.
Where have we seen that before?
There was a successful deck that had 4 1/1 flyers.
At the beginning of last year's Pro Tour.
At Pro Tour Paris.
Now imagine if you played 4 copies of this in your deck. We did an interview with Patrick Chapin talking about the impact of Dark Ascension on Constructed, and he was like, well, yeah, it's a lot like Squadron Hawk, except that you have 16 Squadron Hawks in your deck because each of these is 4 creatures.
4 copies. And this is a prime example. It goes right back to Spectral Procession of how R&D said, why should it be that blue cards have all the and spells in general have inherent card advantage, like Wrath of God, inherently. 1 of mine, 3 of your guys. And here, you've got inherent card advantage in a creature, if you will.
To me, there's a big target on this card.
Yes.
Right. I think this and Delver of Secrets are 2 cards that people are really coming into this event gunning for.
Okay.
But we'll see how it does.
What we haven't seen yet is any double face cards, but we have got one here.
I really like this card. Will we see it? Will it see play? I mean, if you look at it on its face and its front face, it's 4 mana for a 2/2, but you get another 2/2 green wolf creature token when it comes into play. Plus, you gain 2 life. Very much in the Loxodon Hierarch family of cards. Really just a very, very good value. If it gets to transform,
then you've got the Ravager of the Fells. So at that point, you get to deal 2 damage to your opponent, and if they happen to have a creature around, you get to deal 2 damage to one of those as well. So a sample might be, I don't know, Delver.
And you. Yeah. And then if it flips back again, well, then you get another 2/2 and another 2 life, and so it's a very, very powerful card. I think if we're going to see a double face card from the new set, we've certainly seen double face cards. Delver leaps to mind. Daybreak Ranger's seen some play.
5 constructed cards for you. Let's blast our way through Limited, because Limited's going to be a fast format, so let's look at some fast cards. Here we go. Let's start off with Stormbound Geist. Now, you'd quite like a 2/2 flyer for 3. That's perfectly acceptable. You'd really quite like a 3/3 flyer for 3. You get both of them with this card.
Again, it's Undying. Undying is, if you haven't played this limited format, Undying is really puts the pressure on the opponent to find a way to deal with it. They just, you have these traditional plays that you make. You're like, okay, you're going to play that guy. I'm going to block. I'll lose my guy, but you'll lose your guy. Then I'll have some time. I'll play a combat trick. I'll go 1-for-1 against your guy. But this just changes the math. This, Young Wolf, Strangleroot guys, they really change the math. They're very difficult to deal with.
Let's see if we can find a card that can deal, not once, but twice, with a Stormbound Geist. Here's Burning Oil. What a lovely limited card.
Yeah, so you're going to see a lot of people we've talked about the idea that this format's a little faster with a couple of different people. So, imagine a thing where you're like, you lead off with Reckless Waif, you follow up with a Hinterland Hermit, and, you attack for a couple turns, your opponent stabilizes, and they want to block something. Well, you have Burning Oil. You're like, kill your guy, right? It's like you just get to keep pushing through damage, get that guy out of the way. Or someone's attacking you back, and you just want to change the race.
Yep.
Right? I've got a couple of creatures. I came out early. I'm a little out of gas. I'm attacking. This is just a great card. Works front and back side of attacks, and you get to flash it back for a white and 3.
Okay, we've said several times that limited may be getting a little faster. So I have a question for you, BDM, about this card. Farbog Boneflinger, it's a 2/2.
What did you say?
Farbog Boneflinger.
Oh, I thought you said something else entirely.
Okay, so right, it's a 2/2. When it enters the battlefield, target creature gets -2/-2. I get that it's removal, but it's a 2/2 and it costs 5.
Yeah.
It feels like it's spelt clunky.
I definitely dismissed this card when I first looked at it at the pre-release. Had it in my sealed deck pool. I was like, my black's not that great. Hey, you know what? This is just an example of a card. It's just a good card.
Okay.
Right? It's just a good card. It's like, imagine you had this card and it said, 3 mana for a 2/2 zombie, kicker 2, target creature gets -2/-2 until the end of the turn. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just really good. And then it's on the board, and it trades with something else. It absorbs a combat trick. It does something. It 2-for-1s your opponent. Good card. This is the kind of card that really can swing a limited battle. And it's also a great post-combat trick.
Okay, now this guy, Diagraph Captain. Because Dark Ascension is what you're going to open first, this guy is going to be staring back at a bunch of people tomorrow. It's uncommon, so it's going to be in some packs.
But there's a cycle of these.
That's right, yeah, there's a whole bunch of them. So if you open this, can you just go, okay, I'm at 4-1 in the Pro Tour. I'm on course for a top 8. I'm going to take this blue-black zombie lord and go blue-black zombies. Can you do that?
Well, let's see. I open up my pack. Everyone opens up their pack. We look around the table. I see, a Hinterland Hermit over here. I see a Loyal Cathar over there. We're making our picks. Those guys are, maybe taking those cards. I know that red and white are going to be going this way.
Someone opens a Huntmaster.
Yeah, someone opens a Huntmaster, something.
Yep.
I get to take this card. I get to cut blue-black very, very hard going in this direction, and then I get to reap the benefit coming the other way.
Reap the Seagraph, indeed,
Sure.
because that's 2 zombies.
And so, really line the board table up. So, I think these cards are really good, assuming you have the opportunity to read the table and are able to send strong signals in the other direction.
Which brings us to this next card, a card you just mentioned as a kind of signal giver, signal taker, Loyal Cathar.
Yeah, I wrote about this card when I was talking about card, just before the pre-release, cards I was really excited about. I think this card is so exciting for Limited. It's just really good. It really puts your opponent, to the task, right? They've got to make a decision. Are they going to block it? Are they not going to block it? Are they going to trade? Can they attack into it? It's a 2/2 vigilance, and when it dies, it comes back transformed as a 2/1. It can't block, but again, it's all about 2-for-1s. And because you get to take this card face up, you get to make some declarations to the table.
Okay.
If I was, Burden of Guilt, by the way, not pictured, is a really fine first pick white card as well in Dark Ascension.
Interesting. We've got room for one more to squeeze onto the big board. So here it is.
I love this card.
I can tell.
I got destroyed by this card last night.
What happened to you?
Destroyed.
Okay.
Steve Sadin had a Somber Wall Dryad.
Yep.
I was also green.
That's unfortunate.
And, I killed one of his creatures.
Oh.
And he was like, oh, excellent. I will put 3 +1/+1 counters because of the morbid clause over here.
Yep.
Instead of +1/+1/+1 counter that it normally provides. Which is excellent. And he just had a 5/5 Forest Walker for the rest of the game. The rest of the game probably implies that there was a lot of game remaining. That wasn't true.
2 turns?
Yeah. Yeah.
Destroyed.
This card's excellent. And by the way, I would not be shocked to see this card showing up in 60 card lists. I think this card is definitely standard constructed viable.
Okay.
I don't know if anyone out there is playing a poison deck, is playing Infect. This card seems amazing, right? Like,
yeah.
just Virulent Wound your guy, put 3+1/+1 counters on my Glistener Elf, smash you for 4.
Some mutagenic growths here and
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Well, we've shown you some of the cards that you might see in Standard, some of the cards you might see in Limited. And see is the operative word, because for the first time, we're going to bring you live draft coverage of all 6 draft rounds. So you're going to see some of these guys, Farbog Boneflinger, in all their clunky glory. Stay with us for all the fun of Pro Tour Honolulu 2012. We can't wait to be with you from round 1 to when the voices give out after round 19. Until we meet live and on tape throughout the weekend. For Brian David-Marshall, I'm your host, Rich Hagon, saying bye.